Alrighty, folks, welcome back to Adobe Live. Hopefully everybody can hear us loud and clear. Very excited to be back today for our second installation of the Change of Heart design off. My name is VooDoo Val, and I'm going to be artist and host for today, and I am joined by my buddy Sam Peterson. Sam, how are you doing?
I'm doing quite well, thanks, Val.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm glad. I see so many familiar faces in the chat. Howard Pinsky is back to troll, as is Wade. I know he says that he's a mod, but I think he really just uses that as an excuse to tease us. That's okay, though. We love him anyways. Just kidding, Wade. Avila is here. Welcome in. Rasid, it's good to see you. Some guy named Sam Peterson in the chat. Not sure who that is, but
Who let him in?
I don't know.
Scoundrel.
Flynn Tracy, the dad joke king, is in the chat. Very important person. I see RB Valder, my friend. It's good to see you. And so many more. So thank you all for joining us. And thank you as well to all of the awesome designers who were on the channel before us. For those of you who maybe don't know what we're going to be doing today, we're doing the design off, which is basically every week myself and a super cool guest like Mr. Sam Peterson. We get together and we do a kind of art challenge together according to a theme that all of you folks can get involved in. So today, what we've done is we have, or yesterday, and what we're going to be continuing today, is we have chosen some characters and we're illustrating those characters as if they have had a change of heart. So I'm working on a bad guy, one of the big bad uglies from Star Wars, the Miss Asajj Ventress, Sith Lord, and I'm illustrating her as if she is a Jedi, and then I believe Mr. Sam Peterson is working on Batman. Why don't you kind of explain what you've got going on here, Sam?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm taking Batman and I was trying to cram as much of the villains from Batman as I could without making it like too busy, too crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So what I've got so far that we did last time was the line drawing for Batman, put a little bit of Bane in the face, a little bit of the Joker smile, a little bit of Penguin accessories, trying to get some Scarecrow hood in the cowl. And then today we're going to be painting him up.
Awesome. Looking good. And yeah, I guess we can just jump into it and know that all of you folks at home, if you'd like, you can also choose something to illustrate as its opposite. We're going to be checking Twitter and Instagram towards the end of the stream today. We're looking for any submissions, any sketches. They don't have to even be finished, just any sketches or kinds of participation that you post with the hashtag Adobe Live Design Off. So if you use that hashtag, we will see it. We'll get to pull up your art on the stream and check it out and show off stuff. I know that there is some already up there, and I really appreciate you guys participating along with us. But yeah, without further ado, we're just going to kind of jump in here and get to working. I think for today, Sam, I worked on her face just a tiny bit because I was like kind of underwhelmed with the eyes I had done, and now I'm gonna kind of solidify the line art a little bit. I don't know about you, but every once in a while when I'm painting, I'll start painting on something and I'll realize I probably should have cleaned up the line art a little bit more before I started adding values and stuff. So I'll add like a layer of whatever color my background is and turn it on a low opacity so that my painting looks very faint, and then I'll go over it with lines and kind of solidify everything.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of have that too. It's like you want to get it to a certain point where it sort of does its job. So once you jump into the painting, you're good to go. But yeah, I definitely have that where sometimes I have to go back and refine it. I hadn't actually seen the update until just now. I popped up at the window. I like what you did with the eyes.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I kind of wanted to make them like a little more hooded, but not like evil looking. I think she still might seem like a little angy. But I also I was actually talking with my brother today, because my brother is also like, I would actually say my brother's probably a bigger Star Wars fan than I am. And
wow.
yeah, he was
That's saying something.
It really is saying something. He was saying that it would be cool if Asajj were portrayed as a Jedi Sentinel. And I thought that that was a perfect idea because the Jedi Sentinels were like basically like a faction of Jedi that like weeded out like lies and deceit and discord, and so they had to be like a little dark themselves in order to be able to do that. So I thought it would be kind of neat because if Asajj were a Jedi, which depending on whether or not you read the comics or not, she actually does go a little bit Jedi for a time. I think that she would go a little dark because that's just the nature of her. So definitely still a good guy in this rendition, but also not not totally perfect. You know, she's a little rough around the edges, I think.
Yeah, like a little anti-hero in there.
Exactly. A little bit of darkness.
Yeah, that seems like fitting transition. Then like it's kind of a believable transition.
Yeah. I think in some of the side stories, she gets in a lot of trouble because when she's a Sith Lord, she actually falls in love with a Jedi. And then her Sith friends are like, "Whoa, man, that's not cool. That's like the whole like against the whole point of what we do when we hang out. Is like, no Jedi allowed. Why would you?"
Your father will not approve of this.
I know. It's like really, she totally broke all the rules. Val, do you read the Marvel Star Wars comics? Yes. I haven't read all of them. I have a lot of the comics. And I kind of read bits and pieces because I don't actually own all of them. And I found some of them online. And I've also watched a lot of those YouTube videos where people like paraphrase them and show artwork and kind of tell the stories, which is cool. So I would say yes, but I don't have a complete knowledge of all the Marvel comics. I answered your question. Never mind. Oh, okay. Also, who in chat is working on the challenge with us today? What are you guys getting up to? I gotta know.
Yeah, I'd be really curious to see other people's interpretations of this.
Especially if there's any folks in chat who are maybe interpreting the challenge but not doing illustration. I think that's one of my favorite things to see with this is that, you know, everybody's welcome to join. You don't have to be doing illustration to take something and design its opposite. And so it's always cool to see how people will do like hand lettering or do like UI UX design for it or something like that, which is just neat. Okay, kind of getting some more details.
Also, just wanted to say hey to everyone in the chat. I don't think I got to say hey to Wade, Steve, a lot of familiar faces. Howard's in there. Flynn, what's going on, everybody? Appreciate you guys joining us today for part 2 of this crazy challenge.
Yeah, for sure. Is there anybody in chat who's actually new to seeing one of these challenges, I wonder? Any new folks to the design off scene by chance? I'd be interested to know.
Yeah, it's cool being able to jump into one of these because I think I've seen like every one you've done so far.
Yeah, I think you have.
Biggest fan, Val,
right
here. And so then I was like, ooh, I get to do one now.
Yeah.
And you mentioned portraits to me, and you know me. I think we do a lot of similar subject portraits and figures, so that's right up my alley.
Yes, we definitely do. I think yeah, similar like portraits, definitely like kind of a different flair and style, which is cool. I think we have like sometimes like super similar approaches with different end process like end products, but we tend to kind of go along the lines of like the same genres and things like that, which is always really fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of same feel of not always like pretty stuff, but similar vibe sometimes.
I actually like specifically I feel a little weird if everything I do is like wildly lovely. I'm just like, this character definitely needs like a face scar or like a blind eye or like something that makes them asymmetrical, because I can't leave this like a perfect portrait. I gotta do something odd.
Yeah, totally.
Also, I don't know if you guys can hear my chihuahuas protecting the homestead in the background. I apologize for that. They're good babies. They just think I'm in danger right now, and I'm not. I'm the only danger here is the danger of losing this contest. That's the only danger. Though I can't. I mean, if you've seen all of them, I can't say that I've ever like really chosen a winner for the design off, because I always end up just like liking my opponents way more by the end at the end of the show.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's very hard. It's very hard to choose a winner, to be perfectly honest. Though I guess maybe chat can do that for me, because I'm biased, vying for Sam. You know.
Well, it is a beautiful Joker, Batman, Bane, Penguin.
To be perfectly honest, I actually think it's a super dynamic collection of different elements. And when you said what you were doing, I was really curious to see how it would be implemented. But I really do think like it looks super cool, and it doesn't really look like there's too much stuff going on in one piece. Which is how it sounded at first, but I was like, nah, I got faith in Sam. I'm gonna see what he's gonna do.
It very easily could wind up like that, but that's why I didn't put the Mr. Freeze goggles on, because I was like, that would maybe just be too much stuff on the eyes.
Yeah, maybe that's a little much, but I mean, I feel like you probably still could have pulled it off if you were really adamant about trying to make it happen.
Yeah.
Because you could still, I mean, you could still give him like, doesn't Mr. Freeze have like glowy stuff, like even beyond like the goggles? I think his eyes are like glowy, right?
I just know he has those kind of red goggles on, so I could just pay a little bit of attention to that through making his eye red. But I think Bane's eyes are red too, so it may just look like a continuation of the Bane mask.
Oh, that's true.
That's cool.
Would still look cool though.
There, red eye. I think it looks better.
Boom.
It solidifies the villain.
Okay, I've kind of like lately been really in love with adding like directional lines instead of like full shading, if that makes sense. Like when I'm going in and I'm doing the liner, I've been like kind of a fan lately of making like subtle lines and things, just kind of suggesting that there may be shape in places, instead of like trying to make a super thick painted area of what, you know, where something should be. And so I'm kind of having fun with those little lines right now.
Is that kind of like an implied detail thing?
Yeah, like I want to suggest that like her chin is rounded, so instead of like putting super heavy shadow there, I just do some lines that kind of suggest like there's a curve there, and it makes it look slightly like she has like you can kind of see that curved chin a little bit more, or imagine it like it's just kind of like, it kind of suggests that might be how her nose or her chin or her cheek is shaped, instead of like, here's a super large area of shading to show that there's shadow here. It's more like you can kind of get the idea yourself if you look at the way the lines are pointed and kind of imagine how it goes on your own.
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to get better at a sort of implied detail, both with texture, but just a lot of kind of angular brushstrokes. It's definitely an area I'm struggling with it, but you know, it's something you're never really finished with. So it's something I'm always kind of trying to improve at.
Yeah.
This method, I've been feeling like I'm having some success with it. Just the angular brushstrokes of everything.
Arby says, Sam, give it some earrings. I don't know if you could give it earrings. He doesn't have like ears in a regular plate, unless you really want to give him like a sick like bat ring. Yeah, exactly. Exactly like that. Like a bat ring, like right on one of his little points.
I like how you're calling it a bat ring.
Yes. That's what it is now. Coin.
Would they be silver or gold, do you think?
I think they would be gold. I feel like gold would go. That's what I saw in my head. As soon as you said give it earrings, I was like, gold? Like a brassy kind of gold, maybe? But it's up to you. You're the...
Oh, You know, it would mirror the monocle colors. So
Oh yeah, yeah, like that. Okay, I'm also gonna try my very best to get into some color today. I'm just, cause like I said, I'm just kind of like trying to get to a point I'm satisfied with as far as like the specific form for right now. But I would like to, yeah, get into like some burnt orange color. I
ooh,
think that's what I'm gonna go for. I think, and see what that looks like.
I'm excited for it.
Me too, actually. I looked up Jedi Sentinel, and I can actually pull up what that looks like. The Jedi Sentinels actually look super Sith-like, um, and yeah, they dress in like dark colors, and they have like Jedi stuff, and they're not Sith, but they definitely, I feel like if Jedi Sentinels rolled up on you, you would be like, the bad guys are here. But they are good guys, which is kind of interesting. So I can give her like a hood, which I think kind of resonates with Asajj Ventress personally, anyways, because she has like that hood that lays down on her shoulders. But then I've given her like under the flap of the hood, I've given her like a little medallion thing that kind of holds the swath of fabric over her shoulder in place, and I'm gonna put the Jedi Order insignia on it.
Nice. Yeah, I just saw that on stream. Definitely kind of got that bad boy look to it.
Yeah, the cool look.
Cool Jedi kids.
Yeah, way cooler. I guess like if I had to be Jedi, like I had to, I didn't have a choice. um, I would either leave or I'd be a Sentinel. Yes, those are the choices I'd make. I'd either leave because I'd be like, you guys are literally wearing like terry cloth bathrobes, and I cannot do this. This is really bad for my aesthetic and my reputation. I can't be here. Or yeah, I'd be like, can you just transfer me to a new department, please? Can I be transferred to the Sentinel department?
Is there a cooler division, please?
Yeah. What is your reason for this? I'd be like, they just look awesome. So if I could get an invite over there, that'd be great. Thanks.
Now, what is the most compelling thing about the Sith to you?
Um,
Is it the lightning? That's a pretty cool power.
no, I like the Sith a lot more. Like jokes aside about the fashion, even though the fashion is like a big part of it. I just think the Sith code is way cooler than the Jedi code, because the Jedi code is all about like serenity and like peace and tranquility and everything, and it just sounds really boring to me. But like the Sith code is about using the Force to like break the chains of oppression, and build your own strength from within. There's a lot of dudes out there, a lot of Sith ladies and lads that go a little over the top with it, I will admit. But I actually think it's way cooler and way more passionate than the Jedi. So
That's Sith passion.
yes, just like seriously. And I also think that if I actually were in Star Wars and I was like a force sensitive person, I don't think I would actually choose to be either. I think I would choose to be gray, like in between, to be perfectly honest.
Independent.
Yeah, very independent. I would like to be a force sensitive bounty hunter living in wild space. That's where I'd be, I think.
I like it.
Like a force sensitive Han Solo with tighter pants. That would be that's what I would be going for.
Are his pants not tight enough?
No, they're not. They're
When
slung
does it
too
stop?
low. Yeah, I'm always worried that they're gonna fall off. It makes me very uncomfortable. So definitely tighter pants, or at least a sturdier belt, because his is literally just resting on his hips, and I'm like, come on, Solo.
Tighten that
Stacey
belt up.
Humphreys, welcome in. It's good to see you. And Tia Raid.
What's going on, everybody?
I'm going to design an image that has two opposite entities combined into one. from Talitha Snell. That's awesome.
Nice.
I can't wait to see. I hope that if anybody is working along with us and designing along with us today, I hope that even if you don't finish your designs, you will still tweet what you have finished to us so that we can see your concepts and things on the broadcast today. Because like I said, I'm going to pull them up towards the end of the stream, and I would really love to see all this stuff you guys are talking about. Because it's always cool, and this is like a fun, like pretty relaxed, chill hangout. You know, you really don't have to worry about like everything looking perfect and everything being 100% finished. It's really not necessary.
Yeah, for sure. Very casual.
Okay, how about some color?
Do it. It's my favorite part. I think that's why I try to rush into it as early as possible.
Try to get colors in. Do you have a
Yeah,
favorite color scheme?
I always kind of have this tendency towards, like, I think blue and oranges, like a warm and a cool. I think that's one I do pretty often.
Nice.
Or some sort of variation of blue and orange, like slightly shifting those tones.
It's funny you say that because I think I'm going for like blue and orange a little bit today because Asage's skin tone is actually like dark bluey purple kind of. Well, she's pale, but like in some places it's like obviously like very inhuman. And then she wears black, but I'm gonna make her like a light blue, I think, and then make her clothes and everything like burnt orange and tans, like I mentioned before. So
Oh, okay.
we're gonna see how this goes.
Yeah, that'd be a cool combo. Let's see. So I definitely want to incorporate that hood in there. I don't know how to do it if it's like a hard cutoff or if we just blend it, but I should probably tackle that because I'm purposely ignoring it.
So you're doing like a scarecrow kind of hood, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
that's. I didn't know where else to add Scarecrow in. He's got like the leather hat. I mean, I don't know how many. There's different versions of each one of these, but
Oh yeah.
the hood seemed like a doable place to kind of just hint at it slightly. Maybe I could put a few pieces of straw hanging out.
Oh yeah, like it's like the what's the like a jute sack kind of
Yeah,
is like
exactly.
coming apart. That's an excellent idea. That would be rad.
And I'm trying to balance it. Like I'm trying to get a painterly feel to this, so I'm kind of breaking out of my clipping mask at this point. Before all this was clipped, we had a mask, flat color layer attached to that as a clipping mask, and now I'm kind of doing an unattached painting layer where I can just get a little bit more painterly with it.
Nice.
So we'll have fun with that with the sort of jute sack cowl piece.
I'm also gonna make her hair kind of tan. So, Asajj Ventress is bald in the show, but in the comics, she actually she grows hair. She just shaves her head, and her hair is silver, like platinum, like totally like pure white. And so I'm gonna make her hair like a really bright kind of gold color since she's supposed to be like happier.
Yeah,
know? Just
that's a
kind of
cool idea.
see if I can do that. I'm liking this, and then I'm gonna start bringing in some random colors.
Do you have an area that you feel like is something you're probably least comfortable with in terms of characters and portraits? Because I find that I think I need to work on hair and clothing, like fabric and folds and stuff.
I'm the same way about the same stuff. Yeah, definitely. I 100% I feel a little out of my element, a little out of my depth whenever I'm working with painting like hair really well. And I always feel like if I'm not really like hyper careful of what I'm doing, I will accidentally paint hair and fabric like the same texture, sort of. And I think that's actually something that a lot of artists can fall into, is like accidentally not really having a lot of variation in material. Uh,
Yeah,
and so I do that. I definitely do that a lot with hair and fabric.
for sure. Yeah, the material thing can be, you can kind of get like a similar finish with your, I don't know if it's the brush or whatever it may be, but kind of giving everything a similar treatment. And then you step back and you're like, oh, the hair looks like metal and the metal looks like fabric, and they all kind of look alike.
And sometimes that can be like, a lot of people will do interesting things with hair on purpose, but I think I've noticed that I slack on it, like it's not necessarily that having my hair the way that I do it is like that because that's my style. I think it's like that because I need more practice.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to admit that to yourself, but I've had to recently, and I'm like, okay. Maybe I should practice this. Maybe I should stop trying to fool myself.
I can totally relate. I've been kind of liking, that's what I've been doing for hair lately. Been using this brush, but I like using the smudge tool sometimes, and I'll kind of smudge things to soften them and then go back in with my hard edge brush and harden up again. So I'll do a little example if anyone in chat's curious,
Oh
but
yeah, here, I'm gonna zoom in on your stream, actually. Let me...
we'll do a little head here.
if I can. Or I will just, boom, there we go. Because it wasn't letting me show it. So there we go. Pull it up just like that.
So I'll try to, I don't know, get the big shapes to what the hair's supposed to be, but you can get a pretty nice soft edge with just brush strokes with, certain brushes. But sometimes taking the smudge tool can really kind of soften things up. Because I think that's something with hair is those softer edges really help separate it, and you can kind of bring it back in a little bit with the hard brush again. It's usually that combination of soft and hard edges that give it a nice look.
Nice. I'll bring this back down. I just kind of did like a little impromptu, just enlarging of your screen there.
My little crazy head of hair guy.
Yes.
Bad Batman's buddy. But yeah, hair's definitely one of those tricky ones, but it's definitely fun to play around with that hard and soft edge kind of combo.
Nice.
Something like that. We'll hide him. He's the secret head no one needs to know about.
Steve says, I don't know if you had read this before, but Batman's earrings may look like earrings, but they're actually Wi-Fi enhancers.
Exactly.
I'm into it.
Nothing goes to waste. It's all
functional.
Exactly. So at this point, I have everything merged onto one layer. I don't have my mask anymore. I have the mask merged with the flat colors, merged with the painting layers, so it's all on this. So if I want to chisel into that silhouette, I can. If I want to modify with my brush strokes. But the cool thing is once I do this, I can still just make a new layer and clip it to that shape. So clipping masks are still completely valid. I'm just using my painting as the clipping mask now.
Yeah, I usually, like, if I do a bunch of crazy stuff, like, all in different layers, I'll, like, group them together and turn it to, and then do, like, a clipping mask above my group if I have to, just as a way to kind of get everything into one space. I do frequently, I'm like, oh, darn, like, when I realize that I have, not done all the stuff that I know that I want to clip around all in the same place, and I'm like, really, Val, come on. Throwing off my own groove.
Oh, another thing, I mean, it's kind of the same effect, but if I'm feeling more spontaneous, because it's not saved on another layer, but you can just lock the transparencies so I can't paint outside these bounds. So I'll do that too sometimes.
Nice. Also, I think one thing that helps when it comes to making fabric and all that kind of stuff, like kind of differentiating between the edges of certain things and giving them a different texture, it really helps if you kind of have a good brush for final detailing, for like individual things like that. Not that you have to have like separate brushes for every different kind of thing that you paint, but when it comes to adding like the final details to something, I think that if you have like, this is my final detail brush for hair, this is my final detail brush for cloth, this is my final detail brush for skin. Having something like that really helps, because then you can kind of go along your whole way, like get through your process painting how you're comfortable painting, and then you have that knowledge that like towards the end it's not all going to look the same, because you're going to put like a particular texture on all the different elements to pull them away from each other, which works nicely.
Yeah, that's a good point. I do have those three brushes I mentioned, I think, last stream that I use primarily, but it's been this one that I've kind of shifted to lately, and I swear that's jumped around over the months. Like I'll really get into one of the three and use that primarily.
Mm-hmm.
But I have two brushes I've been using mainly. It's this one that we talked about before. I've been using the vast majority of the time, and then the other one is like kind of my scratchy detail brush that I use to soften edges up and
Mm-hmm.
kind of get that more of a painterly look, and just some good texture. So that is kind of my finishing brush for that purpose.
Nice. I have a really bad habit. Whenever I'm going into like detail, kind of I guess you'd call it like the detail of the like neck muscles and stuff, I have a
Oh
bad
yeah.
habit of making them way too defined. Like I sketch them in so I know where they're at, but then I always tend to kind of take it a little too far, and then it makes my characters, like even my softer feminine characters, look like they just have like these ripped necks. They're just like like super defined muscles and veins, and I'm like, oh, this is not the vibe I was going for.
They all did wrestling in high school. So
Exactly.
beefy necks.
Yes. What's good, y'all? Hey, what's up, Daniel? Daniel or Danielle? I think it's Daniel.
What's up, Daniel? How you doing?
Yeah, I think it's Daniel. But welcome in. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope that you are enjoying the stream. I hope that those of you who are participating are kind of maybe thinking about coming to, I guess not coming to a stopping point, but we probably have about 20 minutes before we decide to kind of pull up and see what everyone has done and created along with us. So kind of keep that in mind. So you can post a painting or a work in progress or something to share with us. And for those of you who maybe don't know what is going on or what we're working on today, Sam Peterson and I are doing a design off where essentially we have both chosen some existing characters and we're illustrating them as if they've had a change of heart. So I am illustrating the Sith Lord Asajj Ventress from Star Wars as if she were a Jedi. And then what are you working on, Sam?
I'm doing Batman combined with a couple of his notorious villains.
Nice.
So a handful that I'm kind of cramming into one design.
I'm like painting straight into color now, so I'm not like using my I'm no longer using my blending modes to kind of achieve certain colors. I'm just like straight painting with some rust and things.
Oh, nice.
And it's always really awkward for me, like right when I make the switch and I'm like, okay, here we go. It always seems really odd, or it always feels very odd to me right when I take that plunge. And then I'm like, oh yeah, okay, this is how you use color now.
Yeah, no, I totally know that. When I do like grayscale the color, and I use different blending modes to achieve that, it's the same thing when I make that first layer just to do opaque painting in straight color.
Mm-hmm.
It I don't know, it takes me a bit to like find my groove with it.
For sure. What I've done just now is I've turned it into grayscale with our, I believe you use this too, our handy dandy grayscale trick. If
Oh
anyone
yeah.
is wondering, if I go up to, I believe it's view, proof setup, custom, and I make sure I set device to simulate to working gray gain 20%, then I can do control Y over again to turn it from grayscale to back into my color. So I can kind of like I turned it to grayscale for a second and I was like, okay, where am I losing detail in this neck and how should I kind of clean it up? Where should I add some darker values to make it a little more readable? And I can see where I can do that and then change it back to color and kind of noodle with it a little more and add a little bit more definition. That seems to be working out for me.
Yeah, that's a good reminder to me to check my values here.
Gosh, that looks so good. Like all the folds in his face and stuff. It's he's got so much character.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. I also need to add, so Asaj's neck, I call it the bib. It's like a neck bib that she has. It has like stripes on it, kind of. There we go. And I think I'm gonna actually put these on a blending mode so that I can see how I can get that to interact. That might be cool. Let's turn that on a lower, not a lower fill, lower opacity. Yeah. That works.
It's crazy how quick these hour streams go by. I'm like, what can I do in this remaining time to actually take Batman to the next level? Or sorry, Bad Bat Boy, I think is what I was calling him.
Bad Bat Boy.
Yeah.
I like
Batty
it.
Bat Boy.
Okay. Also, I love that you added that really super cool shine to his eye.
Yeah.
Like the yeah. That is so rad.
It's required. You gotta
Yes.
get the shiny eye.
I agree. I think it looks great. I kind of add a little bit of white to the top of this brooch thing, holding her stuff up. I think that looks pretty cool.
And I don't know if anyone's noticed, but I've pretty much been working from this level of zoom the whole time, which I always say for me personally has been like, if I could give, Sam many years ago one art tip, it would just be stay zoomed out. That's the whole thing.
Yep.
For some reason it solves so many problems for me. I don't know if you have like a number one tip that you would tell past Val.
Let's see. Another number one tip that I would tell past Val.
Something like you're always, because I feel like I'm always relearning the same lessons, and I don't know if you have something that kind of reoccurs like that.
I would tell past Val to stop being so precious with sketches. There's a lot of things, like, because I find that I have like different things that I accidentally default to. One of them is sometimes I get way too precious with sketches, and then one of the things, like this time my mistake was that I wasn't really precious enough. I think that if I had a little more patience yesterday, I wouldn't have had to kind of go back and do some other things on it. I could have just gone through it,
Yeah.
But I have a hard time sometimes having patience in my own work, or taking the time to allow myself to push through stages in my paintings that I need to spend time on. I guess that means I have very little patience with myself. And I think that patience with oneself can sometimes be like a really important thing for artists to have, because you don't want to give up too soon, and you also don't want to force yourself to work on something that's a lost cause already, can go either
Yeah,
direction. So
definitely.
I would say
I've been
that to
there.
pass Val is like assess the situation with wisdom, and don't be too precious with things, and make sure you take time where you need to take time.
I think a big reason that the whole zooming out thing has been a valuable lesson for me, or something that seems to help me whenever I do it, is just because I think it was a conscious way to combat perfectionism when I was
Mm.
first starting. I think
Mm-hmm.
I always kind of had a bad habit with, I don't know, especially like when you're just trying to learn and you're starting out with drawing. I think perfectionism is the worst because it results in like fear of failure, which results in fear of drawing at all, which just halts your progress. So there's been like a lot of things I've had to consciously do to combat perfectionism so I can like have fun and improve. And I think that was one of those things.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think when I first started doing art and trying to take it seriously, I think that I was trying to, like I said, be super precious with my sketches. I felt like if I was going to sit down and draw something at all, it needed to be something good. And then the moment I make a mistake, which of course I'm going to make a mistake, guys, because I had just begun, I make mistakes now and I've been doing it professionally for a lot of years. Like, making mistakes and failing at designing is not something that goes away just because you do it for longer. Like, you learn how to solve the problems quicker and more efficiently, and you maybe learn to recognize when something is like a failed attempt much sooner. And you also learn how to keep the confidence levels up even when you're like, this isn't working, and confidently switch to something else. But in the
Mm,
beginning, I was so overwhelmed when I didn't succeed right at first. And so um, it did lead to a fear of failure, and it also led to a pretty unhealthy fear of doing art for a time. I actually stopped painting for quite a while because I was so afraid of like failing at painting and like the rejection. And it's definitely something I had to work on. It was hard.
for sure. It's kind of a tricky thing because it's not like you're consciously like, I don't want to fail, I'm not going to draw, but it's like this nagging feeling that kind of keeps you from doing something that
Yep.
is usually fun.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like improving any craft to a high degree is it's definitely like a large part mentality. So I know I've had to have a little talk with myself here and there throughout the years of like, this is the plan, you're supposed to have fun with it, you're gonna fail, that's how you learn, and like have this whole mentality, like conscious mentality shift of like, this is what's supposed to happen, this is good, things are going well, stick with it.
Yep.
And kind of talk myself out of those instances like that, and I think that helped setting
Um,
yourself up to have like realistic expectations, I guess, so you kind of know um, that you're going to run into little hurdles here and there, and that's totally normal.
yeah, I agree. Aaliyah Harris says, I need to hear that because I'm a perfectionist and it really happens. My let me see. It says it really happens when my spirit happens to my spirit when I mess up. Yeah, I think I see what you mean. It's just like it does take a toll on the artist's spirit when you don't succeed and you really want to and you tried really hard. But what I would say, if I could offer any advice to any people who feel a little bit like they're floundering right now, because I was there too, and sometimes I'm there again, even now, where I'm just kind of like floundering about like, what am I doing with my art? What direction is my work going in? Am I going to continue to improve? Have I plateaued? All the worries that kind of come into play as an artist. Um, I would say that a lot of us, I think, have tricked ourselves into thinking that, like, if we can just become a professional, that all of those worries go away, and they really don't. Because
Mm-hmm.
as you get further and further into your art journey, you actually raise the bar over and over again. You continue to raise the expectations you have of yourself, even subconsciously sometimes. Like, if I took a look at the artists that I admired when I first started painting, I think that I would find that I've become like I've gone to their level already, and maybe even surpassed some of the pieces back then that I thought was like the greatest thing in the world. And yet I still come to a point where I feel as if I'm not good enough sometimes, which means that my art is changing and my art is developing, but you know, it's my idea of what good art is and what I should be doing, that it's also warping and transforming as the years go on. So with that in mind, and realizing that you're always going to kind of maybe be a little bit hard on yourself, and you're always going to want to do better and be different, the only thing you can really do, I think, is just enjoy the journey. You know? Like, stop waiting for, like, the journey doesn't actually end.
Yeah.
When you become a professional, it doesn't just stop and you change your whole way of being. You just, you know, maybe you start getting jobs for it, but the struggle never ends. So you have to learn how to love and enjoy the process, because that's what it's all about, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like that's never going to change. So that's the whole thing where this is something you can have to be prepared for in the long run.
Yeah.
Where it's just a continuous process of getting better. You kind of get over that hurdle, and then you're on to the next problem where you're like, all right, well, now I want to get better at this thing. And then you struggle with that for a bit, you get over it, and then there's the next thing. So it's like, it's kind of knowing that that's the rhythm, and that's like totally cool. And yeah, like you said, just as long as you enjoy the process and you know that's how it goes.
Yep. And I think actually I started really like improving more once I realized that I was kind of always struggle with learning new concepts, you know, because when I think about it, like, I have accomplished a lot, you know, since I began. I've done a lot of really cool things, and I might not feel like that all the time, but if I really look and I don't lie to myself, and I'm not, you know, trying to bring myself down, I've done a lot of pretty cool art and stuff. But every time I have done it, I've always felt like, you know, well, maybe I could have done this better. But when I look at my work of a span of time and I see that improvement, it's like, no, you know, I'm doing okay, I'm doing well. And sometimes it takes like looking at your art over a span of time to really connect the dots to the fact that you have been improving. And just try to be kind to yourself when it comes to learning new concepts and moving into new areas, because I think, like I said, I don't think it's ever going to go away. It's just like how you handle it is what's going to change.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
it's a super good point because I think like art's easily the thing that I've taken to the highest level of anything I've ever done, that I've stuck with the longest and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do anything for a significant period of time, you kind of realize, or at least I've realized, that everything works that way.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime I try something new, I go into it now with this like really high level of confidence. Not that I'll be good at it, but that I know I have the potential and ability to get really good at it if I want to.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that like the rhythm of getting better at art or any craft or pursuit is going to apply to everything else I've done. So I don't know, it kind of gives me this level of confidence. Like, yeah, I can totally get good at this. I know I'm going to be really bad when I start. I'll be really bad probably for a few months. Then I'll start to get the basics and understand it. And it just keeps going on and on. The more you practice it, the more you get it. So
Yeah.
it's definitely something that I think benefits you in other areas.
Okay, well, I think that I am going to pull up the social media in a minute or so. So if anybody wants to post their work, now is definitely the time to start getting things in to the Twitter. If you guys want to tweet or post on Instagram with the hashtag Adobe Live Design Off, that is what I'm going to be checking here in maybe a minute. Because I want to have like a couple minutes to look through those, and then also a couple minutes to say goodbye. I can't believe we've already been sitting here drawing for an hour. That's just bizarre to me. That's
Yeah,
so
as
wild.
soon as you said that, I'm like, wait a minute, what time is it?
Yeah, exactly. Like every time I do one of these shows, I'm just like, really?
Yeah.
There goes my chihuahua is like really trying to protect my house a lot. And he's like the size of a sub sandwich. He's like a small sub sandwich. I think there's actually most cats are larger than him, so he's really trying his darndest.
Well, it
He's
sounds like
precious.
he's doing a good job because we're still streaming and safe. So
Yes, exactly.
Kudos to puppers.
No one has destroyed the stream. I am safe and sound. My dogs are doing an excellent job. I will let them know you said that. I'll give them little baby dog medals.
Excellent.
I think they're literally right outside my door, just letting loose the barking. I'm so sorry.
I'm throwing in a quick background. Last few moments of the stream.
I thought about doing that, but I didn't know if I had time.
Just something, just some brush strokes.
Let me see.
That's my go-to background, is just textury gibberish.
I've been, like, lately I've been just adding boxes of color, but I don't think I have time. I kind of like drew a box back there, but I don't have time to color it, definitely. All right, folks, I'm gonna pull up the social media. I'm just literally, I think I'm just going to resize my screen like so. It's gonna look a little strange for just a second, but bear with me. I promise we're gonna get it going. And I'm gonna hide yours for just a moment. All right, I'm gonna bump us to the corners, and then I am going to pull up the Twitter. Boom. So I'm gonna research this hashtag just to make sure we are here, and we got one from Tom55. And it says, "Forgive me, Pinhead," a challenge hosted by VooDoo Val as part of the Adobe Live Design Off, with the theme being opposite. So I believe this is Pinhead from Hellraiser, which I don't know if you guys know this, but that was like one of my favorite horror movies growing up. I don't know who decided to let me watch that when I was growing up, but it was definitely a favorite of mine. I've always really loved those horror films. So this is really cool to see. No pain here, man. Only good vibes. I love it. He's got a headband on that says "Give Peace a Chance." I'm digging it. So thank you very, very much for posting this. And then I'm gonna also pop over to the Instagram and see if we got any over there. And no worries if you folks decide to post late. Oh yeah, we did get one. If you folks decide that you're gonna post late, as long as you like tag me in it, I'll check the hashtag regularly. I usually retweet those who don't have enough time to finish it. It says this is from Pick Sierra. "First time really doing anything on my own. Really excited how it turned out. This is awesome. This is so cool." I really appreciate the submission, Pick Sierra and Tom. You guys are rad. I'm gonna quickly refresh just to see if we have any more, and then maybe while I'm refreshing here, you can kind of tell people where to find you on social media, Sam.
Yeah, I'm a lot of places. You can find me as Sam Peterson Art everywhere online, but I stream on Twitch 4 to 5 days a week. Twitter and Instagram are really great ways to keep up with me. I'm also here on Behance, of course, and I stream on Behance 3 days a week. So I'd say those four are really good: Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Behance. Sam Peterson Art on all of those.
Awesome. And if you guys want to check out any of my work, you guys can find me over on Behance, or you guys can find me at VooDoo Val on Instagram, at VooDoo Val on Twitter. That's typically where I am. I'm most active on Twitter, actually. So if you guys want to like send me a message or send me your work that you did for any of the challenges, Twitter is the best one to find me on. And yeah, that's our awesome Opposites design off. I really hope you guys have enjoyed the show, and we will definitely the design off will be back with new guests and things next week, so you guys can tune in again and join in doing some cool art prompts. Thank you everyone in chat. Let's see, Wade says, "Val, yours has McKay concept feel to it. Love it." I am so flattered that you say that. That's gonna make me cry. Stop. That's very kind. Also, Steve Festus Casaboom is saying that there's going to be some Australian designers on the stream right after us. So if you folks are not done with Adobe Live, which I never am, and I hope you aren't either, definitely stick around and give our Australian fam some love and hang out and check out their designs. But that is all the time we have for today. So I will see you guys later. Adios, folks.
Thanks so much, guys. See ya.